Welcome to Build Labor Standards webinar on the Seattle Cannabis Employee Job Retention Ordinance. Today we'll be going over the ordinance, its overview, why it was created, and how yourself as an employee in the city of Seattle can make sure that you remain informed and protected about how this ordinance applies to you and your employer. Seattle Cannabis Employee Job Retention Ordinance, or CEJR, is a law created by the city of Seattle to protect cannabis industry workers when a cannabis business changes ownership. The ordinance became effective on July 19, 2023, and is enforced by the Seattle Office of Labor Standards. The law helps workers keep employment opportunities and income during business transitions by requiring new business owners to consider existing employees before hiring outside workers. The ordinance applies to many types of cannabis businesses operating within Seattle city limits, including retail stores, processors, growers, and delivery businesses. The Cannabis Employee Job Retention Ordinance was created to address job instability that often happens when cannabis businesses are sold or transferred to new owners. Before this law, workers could lose their jobs suddenly after ownership changes, even if they had years of experience and good job performance. These transitions sometimes resulted in unfair hiring practices where existing employees were replaced without being given an opportunity to continue working. The city of Seattle recognized that these situations created financial hardship and uncertainty for cannabis workers and their families. The ordinance was designed to create fairer employment practices and improve stability in the cannabis industry. By requiring incoming business owners to prioritize qualified current employees, the law helps workers maintain steady employment and income during these changes. The ordinance also supports workforce fairness, reduces unnecessary job loss, and promotes stronger working relationships within the cannabis industry. Overall, the law aims to protect workers while encouraging responsible business practices throughout Seattle's cannabis market. So who is covered by this ordinance? The ordinance applies to many cannabis-related businesses operating within city limits. Covered employers include cannabis retailers, growers, processors, manufacturers, wholesalers, delivery services, and businesses that allow on-site cannabis consumption. The law applies whenever there is a change in control, which means ownership or management of the business changes significantly. This can happen through a sale, transfer of assets, merger, or another business transaction that results in a new operator taking over the company. Employees are generally covered if they work for the cannabis business before the ownership change and performed work connected to the operation of the business. The law is intended to protect workers who may otherwise lose employment opportunities during transitions between old and new ownership. What must the outgoing employer do to protect the employee? When ownership changes occur, the outgoing employer has specific responsibilities under this ordinance. One major requirement is posting written notice to all employees about the ownership change. This notice must contain important information such as the names of the outgoing and incoming employers, contact information, and the effective date of the transition. The purpose of the notice is to make sure workers understand what is happening and how the transition may affect their employment. The outgoing employer must also create a preferential hiring list for the incoming employer. This list includes employees who may qualify for continued employment after the ownership change, but the list generally contains employee names, dates of hire, job classifications, and seniority information. The hiring list must usually be provided within 15 days after business transition. So what about the incoming employer? The incoming employer has important responsibilities too. They're designed to protect existing workers during the transition. The new owner must first use the preferential hiring list provided by the outgoing employer before hiring any outside applicants. Qualified employees from the previous business must be considered for available positions. The ordinance also requires employers to follow seniority rules when making hiring decisions whenever possible. The incoming employer must continue hiring from the preferential hiring list for 180 days after the business begins operating again. Job offers must be made in writing and remain open for at least 10 days so that employees have enough time to respond. In addition, the incoming employer must continue posting notices about the ownership change during this transition period. So what are your rights after being hired? Workers who accept employment offers from the incoming employer receive additional protections under this ordinance. One of the most important protections is the 90-day retention requirement. During this period, the incoming employer must keep the worker employed unless there's just cause for termination. This means employees cannot be fired unfairly or without a legitimate reason shortly after being rehired. At the end of the 90-day period, the employer must complete a written performance evaluation for the employee. These protections are designed to help workers transition successfully into the new workplace while reducing fear of sudden termination during any ownership changes. Worker rights and anti-retaliation protections. The ordinance also protects workers who exercise their legal rights under the law. Employees have the right to ask questions, report violations, file complaints, cooperate with investigations, and discuss workplace rights with coworkers. Employers are prohibited from retaliating against workers for using these rights. Retaliation can include firing an employee, reducing their work hours, threatening workers, intimidating any employees, or harassing workers because they reported their concerns. The law also protects workers from immigration-related threats connected to complaints or investigations. In some situations, if an employer takes negative action within 90 days after a worker exercises protected rights, the law may presume retaliation occurred. So how to report a violation? If you're a worker who believes that your rights were violated under the ordinance, you can always file complaints with the Seattle Office of Labor Standards. Employees should report concerns if they were denied hiring opportunities unfairly, terminated without proper cause, retaliated against, or if employers failed to follow required notice or retention rules. Filing a complaint helps OLS investigate potential violations and protect employee rights. Workers are encouraged to collect and keep important records related to their employment. Helpful documents may include work schedules, emails, text messages, written job offers, pay stubs, and notes about workplace incidents. Witness names and other supporting information can also help during these investigations. Thank you again for joining us for our webinar on Seattle Cannabis Employee Job Retention Ordinance. Be sure to visit our website to learn more about our partnership with the Seattle Office of Labor Standards or our labor standards efforts in and around the city of Seattle. You can check us out at bill206.com/labor standards.